Okay, welcome back. This particular lecture or presentation is going to be a little bit different because we're going to do a case study. So you're going to have to go away, you're going to have to listen to me waffle on again for another few minutes, and then you're going to have to go away, you're going to have to do some work, and then we're going to come back and we'll go through the second part of the presentation. But what we're going to look and try and do is understand how to use nutritional information. And essentially, what we're going to try and do is look at how to assess nutrition and how to find out what someone's eating patterns are. We're going to then have a go at analysing and interpreting the data that we collect so we can make sure that clients are working towards their nutritional goals. And we'll have a little bit of a look at the circumstances in which a client should be referred or recommended to a GP or dietitian. So, first things first, what methods are you aware of for collecting information about eating habits and food intake? And we normally do this as a bit of discussion, but the number one way and the best way to monitor someone's food intake is through a food diary. Various ways of doing food diaries, whether it be you just give them a bit of paper and they write it out, whether it be you use an app, something like MyFitnessPal is very popular, and doing it that way, it does break down all of the fats, proteins, carbohydrates, etc. for you, so that can make it a bit easier, but it's a bit more work for the client to log it. So I'd suggest having a look at MyFitnessPal, getting that downloaded, having a play around with that. Or, you know, when you go down the PT route, you might have something printed, something formatted that looks nice and good, also forms part of your marketing material as well, that when a client comes on board, they get the whatever XY fitness diary or food maintenance pack or whatever you want to call it, whatever you brand it up as. You could have some sort of branded food diary. And the pros of the food diary, if it's done properly, you're going to get a very, very detailed account of what that client is eating and also when they are eating it. Negative can be that clients don't always fill it out, they could make it up, they could be dishonest, because you know, you can't be with them there all the time and seeing what they're eating every single hour of every single day. So you are relying on them to do it honestly. What I've also seen some trainers do is they will ask people around a half an hour to an hour after they've had something to eat or drink. They'll also ask the client to record how they're feeling. Are they feeling drowsy? Are they feeling full of life? Are they feeling like they sort of maybe need to go to sleep? Are they feeling hot, and have they had some kind of reaction to the food? Have they got a headache, you know? Because then we can look at food tolerances and making sure people are actually eating food that agrees with them and their system. But that is quite a sophisticated way to do it, and you are demanding quite a lot from the client. However, what I'd like you to do is write out every single thing that you've had to eat today. So you're going to do, you know, if you're watching this in the morning, probably do it for yesterday, but I'd like you to write out as accurately as possible what you've had to eat. And I'm talking the amount of calories you've had. How many grams of protein have you had? How many grams of carbohydrate have you had? How many grams of fat have you had? And you're not going to know that, and I'm, you know, well, some of you might if you're already into it, but for the vast majority of us watching this or listening to this, you're not going to know. You're going to have no idea how much protein you've had. So you're going to have to go away and you're going to have to do some research. So, for example, if you had for breakfast one bowl of Cheerios and some semi-skimmed milk, you're going to have to go and do some research and find out how much carbs, how much protein, how much fat is in that particular meal. If you've got MyFitnessPal, as I said, whack it in there and it will do it all for you. But you need to sort of have a go at this. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be completely honest with you, alright? Doing this task is not going to help you to pass the exam, the nutrition exam. However, it will most definitely help you to become a more complete, more equipped personal trainer, because you need to understand the demands of what you're asking of your clients. If you can't work it out, and if you can't find out how many grams of protein and fat you're having each day, how do you expect your client to be able to do it? Because if you can't do it, they've got no chance. And it's all about educating your client. You shouldn't really have the mindset of, well, I'm just going to keep working it out for them all the time. Yeah, they might bring you a food jar and you might do some analysis and say, well, this is roughly this much protein, this much carb, this much fat, but you can't keep doing that forever. It's all about educating the client, helping them to empower yourselves. And if you do that, and if you provide a good service, they'll keep coming back. But if they're getting stuck and they can't understand why, then it's going to lead to problems. So it's all about educating the client. So write down all the food and then have a go at sort of doing those fats, carbs and proteins. And once you've done that, come to this page. So, hope you've written down your diary, and I hope that you've been able to work out the proteins, fats and carbs. And, if you put it in MyFitnessPal, it'll already have done quite a lot of the work for you. But if you multiply the daily number of grams of each nutrient by the amounts below, so if you've had, let's say you've said that you've had 250 grams of carbohydrates, we know that there are four calories per gram of carbohydrate. So we're going to do 4 times 250, and that'll give us the amount of calories we've had that day that are made up of carbohydrates. Do the same thing for fat and the same thing with protein. And if you've led your diet in the way that's recommended by the government on the Eat Well plate that we've been looking at, you should be seeing that around 50% of your diet is carbohydrate, around 30 to 35 fat, maybe 9 to 12% protein. And for some of you doing this, it'll be very different. Some of you will be shocked. Some of you will know that your protein intake is high on purpose because you're training hard, because you want to get a lot of protein in, because you want that recovery. Some of you may have a really, really high carbohydrate intake. That may be fine for some people who are sort of, we have a few triathletes and long distance runners, etc., who are sort of doing the course at the moment. So that's going to be very, very, very relevant for you guys. However, if you're a more sedentary person and maybe you're going to a couple of fitness camps a week or a couple of doing a couple of home workouts, whatever it might be, and your carbohydrate intake is like 70% every day, then you've got too much carbs in your diet and you need to bring them down for you to have optimal body composition. And building these skills and being able to analyse the diet is a big, big, big part of being a personal trainer. And I've mentioned it a few times throughout sort of this case study or presentation, whatever we're going to call it. But I guess the point I'm trying to get to is that MyFitnessPal will do a lot of this for you. It is a bit of an effort to download the app, and when you first start getting into it, you have to scan a lot of the foods, or you have to look them up and find out how much you're having of each one. But once you get into the mindset and once you can do it, then it is very, very, very helpful, and it is a fantastic tool to help you to reach your ideal body composition. So, have a go with it, play around with it, and try and utilise it where you can. A little bit on scope of practice. If you're looking at someone's diet and you can see that there are some clear patterns or clear eating disorders, ethically, you really have an obligation to refer that person to a GP or nutrition. If you're seeing that the client is eating like 300 calories a day, they're having 2 rice cakes and some broccoli, and that's it, you can see that person's not eating correctly, and it's not in your scope of practice to work with that person to try and develop them. It's not something for you to be out there and trying to do. Same thing, if you notice that someone potentially is going down the route where they're going to become diabetic, you need to have a word with them and potentially get the GP involved. So have a look and make sure you're aware of some of those patterns, and just be aware when you're looking through people's plans that, 99% of the time you're going to look through someone. If it's someone who's new to the gym, you're going to think, it's probably not great, that's not really the best thing to eat. There's not going to be a deficiency there as such, but be on the ball and be aware that is something that could happen, and you need to know that it's not your role to take that on. You need to be going GP or dietitian. So I haven't been talking very long on this one, but I really do hope that you had a go at doing the planning and getting the most from it, because it is a fantastic tool to help you as a personal trainer. So 6.1, describe basic dietary assessment methods, and we've looked at the sort of doing a food diary there and how that can work. Explain how to analyse and interpret information, which hopefully you've had a go at, and the circumstances in which a client should be recommended to visit their GP or a dietitian. We've covered that off during the last slide. Thanks for watching. We are getting towards the end of this nutrition module now. Keep going with it and you'll be almost ready for the exam. Thanks, bye bye.